Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks from the great man. So hang around and see what we can learn from Warren Buffett and translate it into Pokemon investing. Now, in case you don't know who Warren Buffett is, I guess it could be argued that he's the greatest investor the world's ever seen. He's amassed a net worth of $120 billion. His company owns, I think, close to a 10% stake in Coca-Cola. He has investments in Apple and heaps of other major companies, and he has some really, really cool strategies or helpful strategies that I've sort of, I guess, translated into a bit of a Pokemon spin. So hang around and we'll go through them. Now, probably his favorite quote, or I should say my favorite quote of his, the one that sort of rings true with me most is this one. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Now that quote sort of resonates true with me, particularly because of the environment we've seen in the Pokemon world over the last, probably 3 years of this whole quick flipping saga. Now, some people still hate on Pokemon investing, and that's fair enough. Everyone's allowed their opinions. I'm not a huge fan of this flipping or buying products so that other people can't open it just to move it at a higher price. And trust me, it happens a lot in the car world as well. I've also come straight from work today, so forgive the Toyota Polo, but you don't have much luck in sales some days. Today certainly was not my day, so no luck selling anything today. But anyway, it happens in the car world too, where people will buy up stock just to sell it at a higher price, an inflated price on the used car market. And it's frustrating because there's plenty of customers that want it new and they can't get it. So I haven't liked that in the Pokemon hobby, collecting space, investing space, flipping space, I guess you'd say, over the last few years, where people have been able to buy up product and sell it on the secondary market for more expensive than what its retail price is. It wrecks the market almost. But anyway, moving on to the topic at hand. What can we pick up from Warren Buffett? Now, obviously, Pokemon cards or collectibles, I guess, if you were to lump it into one sort of investment tool, is a completely different investment vehicle than stocks or bonds. We call them shares down here in Australia. So, what can we learn? Now, one of the key takeaways, I think, this is the first one. Warren Buffett talks about value investing. And value investing at its core is a really, really simple scenario. And what it means is if you're buying $100 worth of a company's stocks, for argument's sake, you're buying them for less than $100. So if you're getting $100 worth of the stock's value, but you're buying it for less than that, in other words, you're sort of buying it underpriced. Now, if we translate that into the Pokemon world, value investing, so to speak, I can see two scenarios where that comes into play. The first scenario is you happen to pick up a ripper deal. Okay, maybe the market price on a Cosmic Eclipse booster box is, I don't even know what they're going for now. I think 1,200 Australian, which might equate to what, 750, 800 US. Let's just go over 800 because it's a round number. So let's say a Cosmic Eclipse booster box is going for 800 US dollars, but you managed to work out a deal with someone on Facebook Marketplace for whatever reason for 680 US dollars. Value investing. You're buying something that to the market is worth more than what you've paid for it. Another idea that sort of rings true for me in the Pokemon world is if you're getting something under retail price for whatever reason, and maybe it might be because you've pre-ordered it, it's under retail at pre-order, or maybe it's because a set's just come out and it's 3 or 4 months into its life cycle as a booster box, elite trainer box, whatever it might be, and a new set comes out and all this hype or demand shifts towards the new set, which, mind you, we're very likely going to see when 151 drops shortly and Obsidian Flames is left swinging in the wind with heaps of product on the shelves that people aren't buying because they're buying Pokemon 151. So, or Scarlet and Violet 151, I should call it, which is the English version. So what I'm getting at is the other way to do it is you could buy something for under retail price. So you feel like you're getting 100 US dollars of booster box value, but maybe you've picked up a Obsidian Flames booster box for $90. And you feel like you're buying something cheaper than what the market sort of suggests it should be worth. So that's one sort of tip I think you can sort of take away. The second one is this quote. The most important thing to do if you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. Now, I guess what that comes down to and what he's saying from a stock investment point of view is if something's going down and the foreseeable future for that company doesn't look good, it's okay to sell. Like, don't be afraid to sell. So, and now in the Pokemon world, I don't know if you can really say the same thing because it's a little bit different. Like, look at the risk in the Pokemon world. The risk is, I guess, you buy something at retail and let's pick round numbers. Like I was saying, let's pick Scarlet and Violet Paldea Evolved booster box at $100 a box. Again, I'm just talking round numbers so it makes a bit more sense. Your risk is, of course, the worst scenario that could happen is that box is somehow worth $0. What are the chances of that? Next to nothing, I would have thought. So unless maybe the wheels come off the world, World War III happens, whatever it might be, there could be some reason or some scenario that that box is worth nothing. So your biggest risk is you lose $100. So I think, Pokemon card investing is a little bit different to stocks where, a stock will sort of quite often follow this worm of up and down, and maybe that worm will point in the upwards direction as a trend. But if it starts taking that awful slide, which I'm sure most of you have invested in stocks before, it's just painful to see. Maybe the directors have announced something and you just see this company going nowhere. Again, that quote is, if you dig in a hole, there's no, if you find yourself in a hole, there's no harm stopping digging it to make it deeper. So sometimes it's okay to get out. And like I was saying, I don't think you can really see that as much in the Pokemon world because generally, if you're buying something at a retail price, it should go up over time. Now, there are probably some scenarios recently where maybe people bought some Wizards of the Coast cards or Wizards of the Coast sealed product, maybe 2 years ago when they're at an all-time high, and some of those are going down. Look, the only part I can really see it relating to Pokemon is this quote is, if something really important pops up in your life and you need to get out of the product, as in you need to sell it because you've got other important things to put that money towards, I don't see that as a bad thing. Give up your hobby and your collection. I've done it before. I had the sweetest Dragon Ball Z score collection. I had pretty much if you've ever followed the Dragon Ball Z, pretty much every, what they called an ultra rare in a limited near mint copy. That's similar, I guess, to having every alternate art or every first edition base set holo or first edition, jungle holo or whatever it might be. Like, they're what you were chasing in that set. And I had all of them. And then I had all my favorite personality cards in limited foil. I had all my favorite mastery cards in limited foil. I had a heap of the prize, like the tournament prize cards that were worth big dollars. And you know what? Sometimes things crop up in life and you're better off not having that money parked there and moving it towards somewhere else. So I said, right, I'm going to keep my 3 favorite cards and I'm going to sell everything else. So sometimes it's okay to do. If I want to buy them back now, it's going to be at a premium. So maybe I should have kept them. But at the time, that was the right thing to do. Right. Now, the third thing I think you can take from this, from Warren Buffett's investment strategy and relate it to Pokemon cards, is this quote. If you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. Now, that is true investment talk. Now, some people might not have that strategy when it comes to Pokemon cards, and that is completely okay. Like, it's okay. If your plan is that you want to buy something and sell it in a 3-year time scale because you've reached your goal of doubling the price, as in, maybe it's a Chilling Reign booster box, for argument's sake, that you picked up for $90, and it's all of a sudden, after 3 years from release, reached $190, and you've over doubled your money, including, I suppose, the small fee that would come out from eBay or whatever selling platform you might sell it on, and you're okay with that? Good. That's fine. That is okay. But I think from an investment standpoint, really giving things time to mature, and I guess the reason behind this is, you don't have to, and this is what Warren Buffett talks about, you don't have to stress then about the ups and downs. You don't have to stress about bear markets or bull markets because you've given something enough time in the market to see it appreciate properly. So, I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point that he makes, and you can certainly translate it to Pokemon investing in that scenario. Right, here's a fourth quote that I think he likes to use with his investment strategy. Opportunities come infrequently. When it rains gold, put out the bucket, not the thimble. And this quote, I think, the way he describes it is, if we're going shopping for argument's sake, or maybe we're scrolling through Facebook or whatever it might be, and we see our favourite clothes store or something has a 40% off sale. Straight away, everyone goes rushing and goes, oh, sweet, this brand that I've wanted for so long, the hoodie, the jeans, the shoes, the whole outfit, whatever it might be, 40% off, sweet. What was going to cost me $600 for this whole outfit is only going to cost me $350. Let's rush in and buy it. Now, the opposite seems to ring true in the stock market. The moment something's 40% down and there's fear around something, people back away from it. Whereas when everyone's buying and it's on this roller coaster cycle up, people think, oh, I better hop on the train, otherwise I'm going to miss it. So this whole idea that opportunities come infrequently is almost referring to the fact of market crashes, so to speak. And look, it rings true in the Pokemon investing world as well, where, at the height of the market, maybe late 2020 or, early 2021 or mid 2021, whenever that height of the market seemed to take place, a lot of people jumped on board. PSA 10, base set first editions, they're only going to keep going to the moon. What do you know? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Rather than people buy at the bottom of the market during, a bad bear market when things are 40% down or 50% down on usual prices, they're buying at the height. So I guess if we're referring that to Pokemon investing, keep that in mind. When it rains gold, put out the bucket, not the thimble. When it feels like the market's in a crash and everything's down and prices are dropped, not a bad time to buy things. Right, the fifth takeaway. What is it? The most important quality for an investor is temperament, not intellect. So, this idea is, the idea behind his thinking then, temperament, not intellect. You don't have to be what he's saying is you don't have to be the smartest person in the room, so to speak. But if you have the right temperament to hold things, and this relates back to the other one about not sort of worrying about dips and strains in the cycle, because what will happen is, there might be a slight dip in a company and everyone will go, geez, we've got to sell this before it goes to nothing, sell. They might take a 10% loss on it rather than take a 50% loss that might not even come. So temperament, it's okay. I bought so many Darkness Ablaze booster boxes, it's not funny, thinking it's going to be the next XY Flashfire or the next Sun and Moon Burning Shadows, which is, of course, isn't as good a set as XY Flashfire, but, it was this Charizard-based set from Sword and Shield, and I thought, this is the set. This is the set that's going to go north. And then little did I know at the time that it was going to get so mass printed that, prices just remain very, very stagnant for a long period of time and have only just started to wriggle up north. But you know what? I'm not worried. I don't desperately need that money enough at the moment. I think it's fine. Darkness Ablaze is not a great set. Okay, I learnt my lesson on that one. It's not a great set, but you know what? It'll casually tick up. Temperament, don't let the emotions of something control you. I'm not stressed about it. It'll be fine. Vivid Voltage that I got about 15 booster boxes of in the cupboard. It'll be fine as well. I'm not worried about it. Let it be what it'll be. Now, another statement he makes with his investments is focus on quality. And it's a very, very simple blanket statement, focus on quality. Now, when it comes from the collecting side of things from now on, my plan is with Pokemon investing to try and get one of each Elite Trainer box and one of each booster box. But what I'll buy extra booster boxes of to actually keep and store in the cupboard or down in the garage, wherever it might be, as an investment, is something that I feel is quality. Now, if you look at his investment portfolio, it's more about quality over quantity. A lot of investment advice is all about diversify because you never know what's going to go up. And hey, look, that's why I buy one of each, Elite Trainer box and booster box, because there's some diamonds in the rough. You never know what might quite go up. Like, look at a Rebel Clash Elite Trainer box. That's moved north quickly. Look at a Rebel Clash booster box or a Sword and Shield base booster box, which are arguably not great sets at all. And look how much they've moved north. So, but when it comes to that investment point of view, quality over quantity. We all knew, and don't tell me you didn't, Evolving Skies is a quality set. Yes, the pull rates might be not great, but the set itself, the set list, you look down and you go, that is one hell of a quality set. It is. It just is. So quality over quantity. And look what it's done from an investment standpoint. Now, the very last bit of advice that I want to use from Warren Buffett's investment strategy and translate over to Pokemon card investing is this one. A too high purchase price for the stock of an excellent company can undo the effects of a subsequent decade of favorable business developments. Now, what that means is, and this is how I would translate it to the Pokemon world, is if there's hype around something, buying it above retail price or significantly above retail price just because there's hype around it doesn't make it a good investment decision. Because, in the background, that set, or when you're talking about stocks, that business could do a lot of good work over the next 10 years, but because you've bought it at such an inflated price, you've undone a lot of that work that's coming in the future. Now, one of the clear ones that stands out to me is something like a Celebrations Elite Trainer box. Most people, I got it okay. I got it at a touch over 300 Australian dollars, at about 320 Australian dollars, which works out to be, what's that in US dollars? 180? Probably 180, 190, probably 190, 190 US dollars. I think, anything under 200 US dollars for that box, if you could find it somewhere on the secondary market, you had a win. But, people that have bought this at 500 or 600 Australian dollars pretty much, right after launch, or people that have bought this for 300 US dollars right after launch, that's a lot of appreciation over its retail price. And it's going to take a lot of time to sort of, catch up and start moving above that price. So there you go. There's sort of 7 pieces of advice from the great man translated over into Pokemon investing. Please leave your comments down below. Do you have any other bit of advice, maybe from an investment standpoint, that you use and transfer into Pokemon investing that's really helped you? Maybe it's another famous investor. Maybe it's just you've had a lot of time in the market, whether it's the share market or housing investments, whatever it might be, that you translate into Pokemon investing. If you do, please let me know with the comments below. I would love to hear from you. I'm Michael. This is PokeOz. Thanks again for watching.